All right, well, welcome everyone. I'm here to present you guys today with a collaboration between the University of Windsor's Computer Science Society and WinHacks, which is Windsor's first major hackathon back for our third year. And we're here to present to you today an introductory to the Google Hashcode coding competition. So just to give you a little bit of information about myself. So my name is Jeremy Bornay, of course, and I'm the president of the University of Windsor's Computer Science Society. I'm one of the co-founders of WinHacks all the way back in 2019 is when we started working on it, and we had it actually start in 2020. And I'm the lead organizer for WinHacks this year. And I've also been a Google Hashcode hub organizer for the past 3 years. So I have a lot of experience on these kinds of things. And Google Hashcode is one of those things that is something I really believe in. So I'm very excited to be able to present it to you guys today. So just to give you kind of an overview of what we're looking at today. So I'm going to be explaining exactly what is Google Hashcode, what makes it different from other coding competitions, because it actually is pretty different in a lot of ways. Secondly, we're going to go in, why should I participate in Google Hashcode? What's in it for me? What specific benefits am I going to get from it? Which, believe me, there are many. How do you sign up for Google Hashcode? And this is one that is definitely important because it can be a little bit confusing looking at the platform that Google uses for it. So we'll be getting into that. And how can I prepare for Google Hashcode? So, what can you do to make sure that when Hashcode eventually comes around, you'll be able to do the best that you can? And then finally, I'll give you a short demo on how the whole platform works and how you can get started. So, what exactly is Google Hashcode? So this is taken straight from Google itself. Hashcode is a team programming competition organized by Google for students and professionals around the world. You pick your team and programming language, and we pick an engineering problem for you to solve. This year's contest kicks off with a qualification round where your team can compete virtually from wherever you like alongside your virtual hub. And I'll be getting into what hubs are in a minute. And the top teams will then be invited to compete from our virtual world finals. So that's a lot of words, but some key things to take from there is one, Hashcode is a team programming competition. So one of the requirements is you need to be part of a team of at least 2 people, and I believe the max number of people is 4. So very similar to our hackathons with WinHacks. The other thing is it's completely virtual. So, whether you're in Canada or the United States or India or wherever, you can still participate and participate from our hub. And lastly, virtual hubs, which I'll get into a little bit later, are basically a group of students and teams that come together to make up a special private leaderboard that you can compete in. So I'm seeing a message in the chat from Chris saying, me, myself, and I. Unfortunately, Hashcode is strictly a team programming competition, so we are required to work on a team. However, we have a great way for you to connect with other participants and other hackers from WinHacks so that you can ensure that you will be able to find some teammates to, really get into the whole Hashcode spirit. And I think that collaborating on a team is something that's very important, especially in industry. Anyone who's ever worked knows that you'll be working on teams a lot in computer science, software engineering, and learning to work together to kind of create something is extremely important, and developing that skill sooner rather than later is definitely a good thing. So what makes Google Hashcode different? So everyone knows, like ICPC and all these different kind of almost like LeetCode programming competitions, and where you have a set of questions or whatever, say, okay, develop this function so that with this input you'll get the correct result, and do it in O of n time or whatever, try and get it in the least amount of time as possible. This couldn't be further from what Hashcode is actually about. So unlike traditional programming competitions, the goal is not to find the 100% correct answer. Your function has to, get it down pat and in a certain runtime and everything. It's not about that. Instead, you're faced with a real life optimization problem where you need to take this input and develop a program that can transform it into a certain output, and how closely that output actually corresponds to the best possible answer is kind of the amount of points you get. So you don't necessarily need to solve the problem in its entirety 100% right to get points or even to win the competition. So we had many people in our hubs from previous years who've competed, and very basic, without solving it to the absolute perfect level, they're still able to win. And I bet you if you look on the global finals, you won't find one person who solved 100%, because it's just not the nature of what these problems are about. So as long as you provide output that is actually formatted correctly, you can still get points. And I'm even going to show you a little bit later, when I show you the platform, how you can get points immediately without even writing any code, right? So definitely stay tuned for that. So why should you participate in Google Hashcode? I've talked a lot about what it is and, what you're going to be doing, but what do you get out of it, right? Why should you participate? And, as with many other competitions, the last point there, have fun. It's definitely something I've had fun doing. But as I, kind of go through the list here, the first is connect with other students. And like I mentioned before about teamwork being important, this is a team programming competition. So you really get a chance to connect with other students from all around the world, and or even just in your school. You can connect with others, and you're forced to work with them to be able to participate. So I think it's a great opportunity to participate and be able to connect with other students at different walks of life, maybe different skill sets, maybe different levels of skill that you're at, but definitely just making that connection and getting perspective from others. It's definitely a good thing that you want to do, and it's a valuable experience that this provides. And the second is honing your coding skills. So if you're coming here from the WinHacks server, then you'll know that you're looking for ways to kind of get ready for the hackathon, and you want to be able to make the best hack possible. So this is one of those ways where you can get started from the ground up with a more streamlined, organized competition, so that you know exactly what you're getting into, and you can use that to kind of get your skills going and get comfortable with some of these programming languages and stuff. Maybe you'll try Python out new, or something like that. But it's definitely a great way to prepare for future competitions and future hackathons like WinHacks. And the next one is win some prizes. So I'll get a little bit more into this later, but all verified hackers from WinHacks, regardless of, on the global stage, if you, like, you don't have to beat people from all around the world, because if you join our hub and are a verified hacker on WinHacks, then we will put your name in from a pool and you'll be able to compete to win some awesome prizes even before WinHacks has even started, which I think is a great opportunity for you guys to win some stuff and, get right into the hackathon spirit. And the next one is get a sweet certificate. So if you score any points at all, like if you get 1 point participating in the competition, then Google will provide you with a certificate of participation. In addition to this, if you're a verified hacker for WinHacks and you participate and you're a member of our hub, then you'll also receive a certificate from us, kind of showing your participation in that as well. And the next one, this is coming from my own personal experience. Connect with Google. What does that really mean? Well, to give some perspective, when I did, coding competitions like these with Google, I want to say a good 2 years ago or so, due to my participation in these events, I was actually invited to be a member of a private group where you connect with different Googlers and potential prospective Googlers and stuff. So while that may not necessarily be your experience with this, it's definitely an opportunity that exists. And I do know if you participate and you do relatively well in the competition, that Google may actually reach out to you for potentially an internship opportunity or an actual job opportunity. And when you sign up, you'll see there's a little tick box that says, can Google contact you for a potential job opportunity if we like what we see? So, I mean, who doesn't want to get a job at Google, right? So it's just one of those ways where you can get yourself out there. One of the other things I didn't put on here is it's not a bad thing if you're a first year or second year student and you're looking to try and beef up your resume a bit, and maybe you haven't gotten involved in much so far. Participating in these hackathons and these coding competitions is one of the best ways to get experience on there without actually having a job. And then again, the last one, have fun. Who doesn't love solving coding problems for fun, for a chance to win some money? I think, it's super fun. So now we get into the even more fun part, which is how do you sign up for Google Hashcode? So the process may seem a little weird because things like getting your team set up and, getting like set up with the hub and everything, it's a little bit weird, but we will go through that together today. So the first instruction here is head to g.co/hashcode. I'm going to put that in the chat for you guys right now. And there you go. Let me put that on the screen. So g.co/hashcode, and from there, you'll be able to sign in with your Google account. You will need a Google account to sign in because it is a Google event. You will fill in your details to create a Google coding competition profile because they do have other coding competitions. So, you get into that. And then you just hit register. And then the next part, which is super important, create or join a team. So again, you need to have at least 2 people on your team total to be able to actually compete. So when you go in there, you're going to have to create a team, or if you have people you're working with, they'll give you a link and you click the link to join their team. So let's get this off. Now from there, you're going to want to join our hub, which is the WinHacks X UWindsor CSS hub. And then from there, you just complete or compete in the practice round. And then after that, on February 24th, I believe, the actual coding competition will happen. So there's a little bit to it. You got to create a team, you got to create the profile, and you got to join the hub. But after that, it's all smooth sailing. So what is a hub? I've used that word a lot. Now, again, to reiterate, hubs are basically just a group of teams who come together. Usually it's for either like from a specific university or for a specific club or a specific event. Like in this case, we've got the University of Windsor's Computer Science Society and the WinHacks team collaborating to make this hub happen. And like it says here, this year, WinHacks and UWindsor CSS has teamed up, and now we have a virtual hub for everyone. And like I said earlier, we'll be distributing certificates of participation and giving away some prizes to you if you are a verified hacker and you participate in Hashcode on the hub. And if you are not a member of the WinHacks Discord and you're not a verified hacker yet, just check out what I have on screen right now. Join the WinHacks Discord at discord.winhacks.ca. And if you have a little bit of trouble getting in there, it's http://. Sometimes if it does HTTPS, sometimes it doesn't want to work. But definitely join our server there, and you'll be able to become a verified hacker. Moreover, we'll also be providing a channel for you to look for teammates and just chat about Hashcode in general. So definitely join that and become a verified hacker. Once you join, you'll receive instructions in your DMs. So yeah. Which hub do I join? Again, when you go to select a hub, it's this one right here, WinHacks X UWindsor CSS, and it's under Canada. So just make sure you go to the one that says WinHacks X UWindsor CSS. Now, how do you prepare for Google Hashcode? And this is something that when you look at the practice round, you may see it and say, oh, like this is like super complicated. This is a lot. Like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm prepared. Don't worry. There's plenty of opportunities to get prepared for Google Hashcode and see what kinds of problems you're getting into. So how do you prepare? Well, Google provides actually a lot of resources and opportunities for participants to practice before the online qualifier round. And so the two main ways that Google does this is by providing the practice round for you. So this is actually a full-on, it's almost the exact same thing as what you'll see during the actual qualifier. So you'll get a problem description, you'll get different input sets, and you'll have an opportunity to provide your output. And from there, you can actually see how it actually works. So that's extremely useful for getting set up with the platform, right? And knowing how it works, what to expect. And if you want to see actually, okay, but what are these qualifiers actually going to look like question-wise? What kind of questions have they asked in the past? And that's where Google provides you with an archive of all of their past qualifier rounds, and you can see what you can actually expect in them. And you'll be able to solve them at your leisure as well and hone your skills even more. So if you're new to programming competitions and competitive programming in general, maybe you haven't done a lot of it in the past, which is okay. Make sure you find a team who uses the programming language that you're comfortable with, because If you join a team that uses C++ and you only know Python, you're probably not going to be able to do much. So definitely prepare by forming a team with people who you know you can work with. And again, if you have trouble finding people to connect with and team up with, join the WinHacks Discord at discord.winhacks.ca and become a verified hacker, and you'll be able to connect with other hackers who can team up with you. So before we get into the actual platform, I'm going to just go over some tips and tricks. So the first one is, like I said before, choose your team wisely. And I'm seeing a chat. Python versus C. Yeah, I know. Myself, I'm a Python programmer by trade, but you know what? C++ is extremely useful for competitive programming. So if that's what you like, then hey, that's up to you. But so yeah, like I said, choose your team wisely. Hashcode is all about teamwork. And so if you don't choose a team of people who have a similar skill set, or maybe who aren't, you're not really able to compete with, then you're going to have a tough time. So definitely when you're going in to create your team, or if you're going to join a team, try to join people who, like as Chris is saying, if you know Python, join a Python team. If you know C++, join a C++ team. And I'm seeing a message from Cap saying, I only know basic HTML. Unfortunately, HTML isn't quite Turing complete, so you might have a difficult time participating in this if you only know HTML. However, I know Python is very easy to pick up. So Python would be my recommendation to you to look into if you're trying to participate in this. I only program in assembly. Well, if you program in MASM, which is the Microsoft Macro Assembler, boy, do I have a program for you. All the people at the University of Windsor taking Comp 2660 will understand what I'm talking about. But I seriously hope that you don't only program in assembly, because you'll probably have a difficult time with pretty much anything in competitive programming. But who knows? I've seen people do these with Excel, not even a programming language, which is kind of cool, but wouldn't recommend it. And as Chris says, absolutely try the practice round and see how you hold up. And I'll be actually going over the practice round with you guys today. So easy peasy, right? All right. So next, if you don't have a team, don't worry. Join the WinHacks Discord and become a verified hacker. And we have a specific chat for you there where you can find teammates for Hashcode. So don't fret. We're here for you. Again, like I said before, don't try to get the exact best answer. It's super easy to go into this program, into this competition. You see the question and you're like, okay, I want to run this super crazy, complicated algorithm to get the exact best, most optimized solution. But unfortunately, the truth of the matter is they make these test cases so large that even the best programmer, even Bill Gates or Ryan Prairie himself wouldn't be able to find the exact solution here. So just try to get something and work on getting the input, getting the output out, and then work on the in-between incrementally to optimize further, because you will still get points if I'm seeing a from Cap, I see, wait, Bill Gates can program. And yes, from what I understand, Bill Gates is an exceptional computer programmer. but I mean, who knows? I've never met the guy, so maybe it's all fake. But yeah, don't try to get the exact best answer. And this kind of goes into the other tips and tricks. Time is key, so make sure to leave enough time for your program to actually run. So if you create an algorithm that goes through 100 million, comparisons because of how large these data sets are, then like it's going to run in an hour or even like several hours, right? So you got to keep time in perspective, and also make sure you have time to submit as well, because you have to submit not only your program but also the output files, so the actual output that your program generates. And I'll get into that a bit more when we actually look at the practice program. And lastly, don't submit nothing. You can get points even if your answer isn't exactly correct, and even if you only solve the most basic of the test cases. And Google probably doesn't want me to show you this, but later I'll show you how you can actually get a few points without writing any code at all. So make sure you submit something, because it's always better to get a few points as opposed to just not. It looks like you didn't even participate because you didn't submit anything. So never submit nothing. And that's the same for hackathons as well. Never submit nothing. Always submit something. So that was a lot of talking, and that was a lot of slides. So now I'll actually get into how the platform works, and I'll show you a little bit about what we're talking about. So let me exit out of this, and where is Google Chrome? I'm doing this live, so we're having a little bit of technical issues. If we let that load, we should be able to see Hashcode. Chrome mod check. I'm not too sure what a mod check is, but I hope it's good. So this right here, and I'll zoom in a little bit for my people on mobile, this is Hashcode. So if you're on a, if you're not registered yet, like I am, and I'll show you that, like this. If you're not registered, you will see register now, right? And because I'm in incognito, it's saying blah, 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 I can't sign up. But I'm seeing, on a serious note, does anyone code in Ruby here? I know myself personally, I code in Ruby a little bit. And I know that we have a lot of people who know Ruby in the UWindsor CS community, and hopefully in the WinHacks community as well. So I'm not too sure what to call you, Nishamak, but if you join the WinHacks Discord server, you'll be able to actually connect with other hackers who clearly, someone's going to know Ruby. But yeah, definitely join there and you'll be able to find someone. Anywho, so this is what the registration page looks like. You'll actually be able to click this if you're not an incognito, and you just go through some steps. But essentially, once that's done, you'll be here, right? And the first thing you'll want to do if you don't have a team and you want to create your own is you go to My Team. And I'm actually already part of a team. And you'll see we're called KWTDS. And you'll see that's me, Jeremy, and my teammate, Justin135. So when you come here, you'll see something that says create team. You hit create, and you just put the team name. If you want to yoink the link and and join my team, be my guest. But this is kind of more so just for demonstration purposes, this team. So do so as you will. But this is actually a good opportunity to see what it looks like to invite people to your team. So when you create your team, you share this link with your friends and invite them to join your team. You share them this link, and from there they'll be prompted much before to the same registration thing. They'll register and then they'll be automatically added to your team. So this is something to keep in mind when you create your team. And if you're already on a team, but say you've got Chris who has a team and you created your own team, and you're like, okay, well, what do I do? We both have a team. How do I join Chris's team? All you got to do, you just hit leave team, and then you click his link, and then you'll be part of his team. Now, the next thing that I'm going to show you, which is super important because this is how you get added to be eligible to win prizes from WinHacks, and as well as get your certificate. So to be eligible for that, you have to join the hub. Now, I don't like how Google has this platform set up, because you'd think, oh, okay, I want to join a hub. Let's go to the hub's place, right? Wrong. For whatever reason, you can't join a hub from this page. You have to join it from the My Team page. So what you want to do, again, lovely user experience from Google, but instead of just being able to hit the drop down, you can't. You have to edit first, and then you click on the drop down, and you'll see all of these. And lovely how they also don't provide you with a way to search, which is lovely. But they're listed in alphabetical order by country. So the one we want is in Canada, because WinHacks and University of Windsor are based in Canada. So you hit there, you click that, and you hit save. And just like that, you're part of a hub. And that is extremely important, because without this, you will not be able to win prizes for WinHacks, or I'm seeing some spam, and we're going to block. Perfect. Gotta love Twitch. Anywho, anyone needs a teammate, again, join the WinHacks Discord and become a verified hacker, and you'll be able to find some teammates there. That's the best way. Anywho, again, so now we've created our team, we have a teammate, and we've joined a hub. So what do we do now? Well, we're going to go to the schedule page, because once my internet decides to work, we can see the practice round. There's a lot of time remaining, so you got plenty of time to work on it. This practice round is your best way to get acquainted with how the platform works, right? And just a pro tip, if you're annoyed with how the start and end time is in UTC, just click there, and then it's like, oh, okay. So I know the next round, the online qualifications, is going to be at 16. Actually, sorry, it starts at 12:30, ends at 16:30. So that's a little pro tip, because sometimes it's annoying. They always, it's always in UTC, and it's like, what do I do? But another thing to take note of is make sure you sign up soon, because it does, like, registration isn't open until like right before the event. You do have to sign up before February 23rd. I know that seems like a lot of time now, but it's super easy to forget and not sign up. So super, super important. Make sure you go to g.co/hashcode and sign up very soon. All right. So anywho, let's get into the practice round and actually see what does Hashcode look like. Let's get into the meat of it. So again, you'd think it would just open up right to the problem, but no, it says scoreboard hidden for whatever reason. Either way, you hit open problem and then there you go. That's what you want. So the problem is called one pizza. So let's go through it. I've not attempted it, and they last updated it January 27th, which is, oh, no, that's just updating my submission status. That's right. Anywho, so let's kind of read through. I'm not going to actually go through and solve the problem so that, you guys have a chance to solve it. But I will go through it and also show you a sneaky trick to make sure that you can at least get some points. All right. So, and Google loves being super creative with these problem statements. It takes a little bit of skill to take all these words and boil it down to, okay, what do I actually have to do? But that's just part of the fun. That's part of the spirit for Google. Anywho, so you are opening a small pizzeria, and in fact, your pizza is so small that you decided to offer only one type of pizza. And now you need to decide what ingredients to include. So the whole point of this problem is what ingredients am I going to include on my pizza? So everyone has their own pizza preferences, and each of your potential clients has some ingredients that they like and potentially some ingredients that they dislike. And each client will only come to your pizzeria if, number one, all of the ingredients that they like are on the pizza, and two, none of the ingredients that they dislike are on the pizza. And this will make a little bit more sense when we look at the sample input data. And lastly, so each client is okay with additional ingredients they neither like nor dislike. So if someone likes pineapple, as George said, they don't like peppers, but they didn't say anything about basil, then if you include basil, they'll still get it as long as there's pineapple and as long as there's no peppers. But yeah, so now we get into a little bit more of the actual important stuff. Pineapple is great. Well, I'm not going to say what I believe on the matter because it's a very divisive subject, but I will say no matter what you like on your pizza, I'm happy that you get to eat it, and I hope you get to eat it very soon. Anywho, let's get back to the input. So the first line contains one integer, and it's between 1 and 10 to the 5, and this is just the number of potential clients. So this number is for helping you parse the input. So your program has to know how many people you're actually going to be looking at before you can actually write it. So that's what the first thing is for. And then the second line contains another integer followed by sorry, I didn't even get into this. Sorry. See, it's confusing because they use first line 2 times. The first line of your actual input contains the number of potential clients. After that, then you have 2 times the number of clients lines. So if there are 5 clients, there will be 10 lines after that. And so it's kind of grouped into 2 lines for each client. So the first line contains an integer, which says how many ingredients are going to be in the list. And then that integer, so L ingredients are going to be in that list. So you have a list of ingredients that you're going to be looking at. And those are the ingredients that the client likes. The second line, similarly, is going to be the ingredients that a client dislikes. And everything is delimited by spaces. So you can just do .split and then by a space. So each ingredient name consists of between 1 and 15 ASCII characters. If you're using something like Python, you don't really care about that. But each character is either a lowercase letter or a digit. So if you're using something super high level like Python, then you don't really care about that. But if you're using something like C or something a little bit more low level, then having that information is actually useful. So make note of that depending on what programming language you're using. So here you'll see all the different data sets, and I'll show you these guys later. So the submission, so what do you actually submit? So what you're trying to do is figure out what ingredients you want on the pizza so that the max number of people can come to your pizzeria. So what you need to submit is a single number followed by, so like say you decide, okay, I want peppers, pineapple, and basil on it. So I want 3 ingredients. So you do 3, and then you do peppers, pineapple, basil, and that's your submission. So a single line, that's all you got to submit. One line consisting of a single number, n, followed by n ingredients to put on the only pizza available in the pizzeria, separated by spaces. So, and yeah, the list of ingredients, it needs to only contain ingredients that were actually mentioned by a client. So if you put some garbage text in there, it's going to say, hey, sorry, this is wrong, and you're going to get no points. So scoring, so you get a point for every client potential client that actually shows up to your pizzeria based on the output that you give. So let's go through the super simple sample input. So first we have 3. That means there are 3 potential clients. So then you separate it in 2s. So these 2 lines are for the first client. So this means he likes 2 ingredients. He likes cheese and he likes peppers. And then the 0 means he doesn't like anything, right? Or he doesn't dislike anything. So no matter what you put on the pizza, as long as there's cheese and peppers, then this person will order it. So the next 2 lines are for the second client. And so the first one, 1, this means that this client, she likes basil. So she likes basil, and that's the only thing that she likes. So that's the thing that needs to be on the pizza for her to actually order it. And then the second line is pineapple. So she's one of these people that Cap doesn't like because Cap thinks pineapple is great, but this person, she doesn't think that pineapple is great. So that's what that means. And then similarly, this person likes mushrooms and tomatoes, but dislikes basil. So you can kind of work out in your head, what should we do? So if we want client number 1 to order from our place, we need to make sure that cheese is there, and we got to make sure that peppers are there. Okay. So the second person, we got to make sure that there's basil there, and there can't be pineapple. So, and the third person, we got to make sure there's mushrooms and tomatoes, but there can't be basil. So what we're seeing here is a situation where it's like, okay, how do we make as many people happy as possible? So no matter what, you'll see that no one dislikes cheese and no one dislikes peppers. So no matter what, since this person doesn't dislike anything, we should definitely include cheese and peppers, right? So lastly, we have to decide, is there a way to make both of these people happy? And the answer to that is unfortunately no, because you'll see client number 2 needs to have basil for them to order it, right? But client number 3 doesn't like basil. If there's basil on it, they won't order it. So as a result, just working on it in your head, you realize there's only a max of 2 people that can actually order, right? So in the sample output, they say, okay, we're going to appease this client number 3. Alternatively, you could have included basil instead of mushrooms and tomatoes, and you would have gotten the same result. So I'm going to get into that fancy little trick now to show you guys how to get some points. But do I have any questions in the chat about how this works? Is anything confusing at this point? Or anything I can touch base on before I continue? So I'm not seeing anything, which is good. That means everyone understands. And even if you don't understand, you don't have a question, then okay. The question doesn't say anything about optimizing the cost of toppings. So the whole point of this isn't necessarily about the cost of toppings or anything like that. It's just about what toppings are best to include so that the most number of people show up. So for example, you might think, okay, let's just include everything, everyone's happy, right? So let's do cheese, peppers, basil, pineapple, mushrooms, and tomatoes. Well, if we did that, then if we had pineapple on, then this person wouldn't order it. And if we had basil on it, then this person wouldn't order it. So realistically, you'd only get one person. So you don't really consider the cost of anything. It's more so just about, if I have these ingredients, so how many clients are going to say, yes, I like it, and how many are going to say, no, I don't like it. And we want to find a combination of ingredients that produces the largest number of people that say, yes, I'm going to buy it. Does that clear it up a little bit, or I don't know? It's a little confusing because they make these kind of yeah, Chris, like I'm saying, it could be a little bit more. So this is the practice problem. So it's, it is relatively simple when you get down to it. It's very possible that the qualifier could actually end up being a little bit more complicated, but who knows? You'll be able to see that later. So back to, this is just, they're kind of explaining what I just explained, and you can read through this again later if you want. Can you use external libraries or only the default package? So this is something that's super, super cool about Hashcode, is you aren't actually graded on your program itself. What you're graded on is the output you generate. So they do require you to put source code in just so that you didn't get the answers from someone else and you didn't actually code something. But the code, they actually don't really look at super crazy. It's all about this here, which is you submit your output. And I'll show you that in a second. But to answer your question simply, you can use anything you want. You can pip install whatever, npm yarn install anything, and you can use pretty much whatever you want to solve it. So like I said, there's been people who try and use Excel to solve these things, which frankly I think is a little bit crazy, but hey, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. And I see Chris, but it's just to find the maximum amount of people. Yeah, exactly. So, and you're not actually determining the number of people. What you're doing is coming up with an optimized list of, ingredients so that you get a good amount of people. So that's a lot of talking. If you have any questions, feel free to continue to ask them, but I am going to get into how this actually looks for solving it. So you can download the full data as a zip archive and just extract it somewhere, or you can download these individually. And to kind of show you, this is the exact same sample input that we were looking at here. So you'll always be graded on at least the sample input. They always provide you with this. And this is kind of a trick because it means no matter what, you can still get some points. And I'll show you that in a sec. But if we go to B, you'll notice it's a little bit more. And you'll see they use randomly generated stuff. Again, this is why it all comes down to not necessarily all these fancy words and stuff about pizza ingredients and stuff, because at the end of the day, they're using VXGLQ to denote an ingredient, which is a little bizarre, but whatever. So that's another example. Yeah, we're so good. We go to C, and then you'll realize, oh, now we're getting to something a little bit crazier, right? And then by the time you get to D, and this one will take a while, if you can see the scroll bar, you'll notice that the input size gets very big very quick. So be on the lookout for that. But don't be too scared of it, because a lot of times there are very simple ways where you can still get a result from that input without getting super, super crazy, right? So what you're going to want to do is download all these and open them up in some editor or something. Here I have everything open up in Visual Studio Code because that is my editor of choice. So to show you kind of an example of how do we get points very, yeah, as long as you can do one, you can do them all. Well, the thing is, your program has to run, right? Sometimes people get a little bit crazy with their program, and it'll be so inefficient, so complicated that it'll actually run for hours, depending on it. So that's why I stressed before, don't overcomplicate it, and just try to do your best to do even minor optimizations, and you'll still be able to do well. So what's the most simple submission you can do to get points? And it may seem like cheating, it may seem like a joke, but copying the sample output, and I guess quotes would help. Doing that, and we can run py submission.py. Oh, look, we have a program that generates output. And we can make an out.a.txt or whatever. We can paste this in, and I can go to my Explorer, and actually I think I might need to do it from here, but if I hit choose file, let me just open this up over here and give me a moment because I have to find where that is. I kind of wish there was an easier way to upload the files, but whatever. Let's see, I go to projects, and then I go to Hashcode. Okay, here we are. So this is where you actually submit your stuff. So like I said before, you don't actually submit well, you do submit your program, but it's not like they're running it on their site or anything. What you really submit is your output. So you remember that out.a.txt I created, which just had the sample input in it. So you'll see I added that there, and it said, hey, you need to show me your source code for verification purposes. That's fine. I put my submission.py, and it's like, all right, submit your attempt, and let's submit. And here it is. It's going to judge it and see whether we get any points. And we'll give it a second to do that. I don't really know what this number is. I think it's just a bug in their system. And you'll see I got some points. All I did was write a print statement. You already got 2 points. And doing this is enough to get yourself a participation certificate directly from Google. So just using something like this, I know it's kind of weird to do something like this, but just doing this will get you a couple points. And it'll show you can download the source code you use, you can download the output, but you know, that's kind of how that works. And I think the reason why they make you put your source code in is because if you actually did do super well and you make it to the finals, then they want to make sure that you're actually someone who, you know, is able to like back up what you did. You didn't cheat or anything. So that's the practice round for you. I don't really have a particular interest in spending all too long trying to solve this problem because it may be a little bit difficult, but I can stay on for a little bit just to talk about it if you guys want. But are there any outstanding questions or anything before I continue talking? Well, I'm not seeing anything. If you guys are typing, then I'll answer it when you're done typing. But I will get back and I'll show you something that is also super useful. I'm seeing something from a Ben saying, are tabs better than spaces? And the truth of the matter is, if you're a Python programmer like me, it matters a lot less whether you use specifically tabs or spaces, and it matters a whole lot more whether you're using something consistent. So if you try and use some code that's tabs and some that's spaces, then it'll not work very well because Python is very picky for that kind of stuff. Especially when you have your editor set to like look like 4 spaces and then you copy something and paste it where it actually uses 4 spaces. If your editor isn't perfect, it won't fix that up for you, and it gets kind of weird. But that isn't super related to this, so I won't talk on that anymore. But some important notes to have is that if you want to actually see what some other, rounds are like, you can go to this archive tab and you can actually see not only the qualification rounds, which are like the ones that you all are going to participate in February, but also the world finals, which I don't even look at these because I bet you they're so hard I wouldn't even be able to. But you can see sometimes like this is the world finals, so it's a little complicated, but 10 pages worth of stuff, kind of yikes. Qualification is probably about the same, 10, but a lot of it is, all these kinds of things. But that's not super important. I definitely recommend you to look through these just to kind of see what you're looking for. But the practice round, which is here, is super important because it shows you how to actually use the platform. So this is what's most important. Oh boy, these bots keep showing up in the chat. Okay. Another thing that's interesting is you go to this competitions on air, and this is kind of where Google will have like videos and stuff. There'll be a live stream during the actual competition and a little bit before. So you go to this Hashcode, and you'll see this is some information on so they live streamed the online qualifications and they live streamed the world finals. But we don't see the bot messages. I'm super happy that you guys don't see them because they're not very nice. But yeah, check this out. So during the actual competition, we'll probably have a stream running ourselves as well so that you guys, can see it. Maybe something in the Discord server or on our Twitch. Not too sure yet, but that is what we will have. Come here if you want to see the live stream during the event. Let's see. Hubs I already went through, and you can take a look. There's a lot of hubs. Unfortunately, you can only join one hub, so you're a little bit limited there. But the one you want, WinHacks x UWindsor CSS. Make sure you're on there. And then if you want to check out the rules, there's specific terms on, who can actually be eligible, how you can do all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Might be a little bit important if you're not too sure how this actually works. The FAQ is also pretty important because there might be some, for example, there's all this stuff on common issues that you get on the competition platform. And trust me, you will probably end up running into something if you've never done this before, just because it's a little crazy. There's a lot of different things you got to go through. But if that's it for that, then we can. Thanks for the workshop. You're very welcome. And does anyone have any last final questions before we wrap up? Well, I think I answered pretty much most of the questions that you guys had throughout the event. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. We're going to have a lot of stuff planned in the near future. So definitely make sure you join the WinHacks Discord and check out our pre-events. As well, if you're from the University of Windsor Computer Science, then we have normally weekly workshops on Thursdays at the same time around 6. So follow us on Twitch here if you're interested in that. But yeah, thank you everyone for showing up. There will be a recording of this available if you want to refer to it again later. But that's it for me. Everyone have a lovely rest of your day and get cracking.